Hello friends, let's see the brief introduction to the abdomen and its boundaries. Here in this figure we have removed the limbs because of the simplicity, and we can find that this area, it is the head and neck portion, and below it this area, it is the trunk. Within the trunk we find one muscle, and this important muscle, it is the diaphragm muscle, and this diaphragm muscle divides the trunk into two cavities. A cavity above it, it is the thoracic cavity, and the cavity below it, and that cavity, it is called as the abdominal cavity. This abdominal cavity is further divided into two parts by this pelvic inlet, and the part of the abdominal cavity above this pelvic inlet, it is called as the abdomen proper, and the part of the abdominal cavity below this pelvic inlet, it is called as the pelvic cavity. Within this abdominal cavity there are two important tubes are there, and these are the gastrointestinal tract as well as the urogenital tract. And along with these two systems there are vessels, and the nerves are also there to provide the nutrition and the control over this system. And these systems, they are covered with one serous membrane, and that is called as the peritoneum. And this peritoneum having two layers, parietal layer as well as the visceral layer, and it is a complete closed sac. This peritoneal cavity, it is a closed sac in case of male, and in case of female it is open sac because of the presence of the ostium of the uterine tube, which will communicate with the uterus and to the vagina, and through the vagina it communicates to the outside. So we can say that all these abdominal viscera present within the abdominal cavity, they are intra-abdominal but extra-peritoneal, except the ovaries in case of the female. And this peritoneum we are going to learn in detail in our upcoming video series. Now let's see the boundaries of this abdomen. This abdomen having four boundaries, and let's see in this fresh image, it has one roof, one floor, one anterior wall, and one posterior wall. The roof is going to be formed by the diaphragm muscle, and this diaphragm muscle, it is going to move with the respiration, and that will lead to the increase and the decrease of the intra-abdominal as well as the intrathoracic pressure continuously. The floor is going to be formed by two diaphragms, pelvic diaphragm, which is going to be formed by levator ani as well as the coccygeus muscle, which covers the whole pelvic cavity, while in the anterior part it is also supported by the urogenital diaphragm. The anterior abdominal wall, it is going to be formed by muscles as well as the fibrous aponeurosis of these muscles, and that's why it is musculofibrous, and this provide the firmness as well as the elasticity to the anterior abdominal wall. The firmness is necessary for the protection of the abdominal viscera, and the elasticity, it is also necessary because it allows the expansion of the abdominal viscera during inspiration. The posterior wall, it is made up of the vertebral column as well as some muscles attached with that, and the fascias are also there, and that's why this posterior wall, it is the osseo-musculo-fascial in nature. This posterior abdominal wall, it is rigid to provide the protection of the abdomen from behind, and within this posterior abdominal wall there are so many retroperitoneal organs are present. Along with them there are so many muscles, so many nerves as well as the vessels are present, and along with it there are attachment of the folds of the peritoneum are there. So this is the brief introduction of the abdomen and its boundaries.
Now let's see the regions of the abdomen. For the topographic reference of the underlying structures within the abdomen is divided into 9 quadrants, by two horizontal planes and two vertical planes. When we see the horizontal planes, the upper horizontal plane, it is going to pass through the L1 vertebrae. So here in this figure we can appreciate that this is the L5, L4, L3, L2, L1 vertebrae, and the upper horizontal plane, it is called as the transpyloric plane, and this transpyloric plane, it is going to pass through the lower border of the L1, and this transpyloric plane, it is going to pass through the 9th costal cartilage on each side. Here this is the 10th costal cartilage, this is the 9th, 8th and the 7th costal cartilage, and this transpyloric plane, it is going to pass through the 9th costal cartilage, and posteriorly it is going to pass through the lower border of the L1. And at the level of this transpyloric plane, so we can say lower border of the L1, there are so many structures are there, and these are the pylorus of the stomach, and that is why the name is transpyloric. Fundus of the gallbladder, both the hilum of the kidneys, origin of the superior mesenteric artery, and spinal cord is going to end at this level in adult. Some author is also using one more plane other than this transpyloric plane as the upper horizontal plane, and this plane, it is going to pass through the lower margin of the costal cartilage, and this plane, it is called as the subcostal plane, which is going to pass through the L3 vertebrae. But the mostly recommended plan by the most of the author, it is the transpyloric plane, which we have already discussed. The lower horizontal plane, it is called as the transtubercular plane, and this transtubercular plane, it is going to pass through the both the sided tubercles of the iliac crest, and from here this plane is going to pass, and this transtubercular plane, it is going to pass through the upper part of the L5 vertebrae. So here in this other figure, let's see both the planes. The upper horizontal plane, it is the transpyloric plane, which is going to pass through the pylorus of the stomach at the 9th costal cartilage, and this is somewhere approximately midway between the suprasternal notch above and the pubic symphysis below. And for the practical point of view, it is roughly counted between the lower part of the xiphoid process above and the umbilicus below. So this plane, it is this transpyloric plane, what we have already discussed. The lower horizontal plane, it is going to pass through the tubercles of the both the sided iliac crest, and this plane, it is called as the transtubercular plane, and it is going to pass through the upper border of the L5 vertebrae. Two vertical planes, right and left lateral planes, they are represented by one vertical line drawn from the midpoint between this anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic symphysis. So this is the midpoint of the both the landmarks, and above it is going to pass through the midpoint of the clavicle. So the line passes through this both the point, it is the vertical plane of the abdomen. So there are two right and left lateral vertical planes are there, and these are roughly corresponds with the right and left mid-clavicular planes. So now let's see on this bony framework having the two vertical planes, and these two vertical planes, they are going to pass through the midpoint of the anterior superior iliac spine and the pubic symphysis, and above it is going to continue with the midpoint of the clavicle. After having this much information, we can say that this abdomen can be divided into three regions: upper region, the intermediate region, and the lower region. Within this upper region, the middle part, it is called as the epigastric region, On the both the side, in the upper zone, these two areas are called as the right and left hypochondriac region. In the intermediate zone, where the umbilicus lies, and that area it is called as the umbilical region. And on the both the side, where the kidneys are there, and these are called as the lumbar regions. And the lower zone, it has in the middle the hypogastric region, and on the each side where the iliac fossas are present, and these are called as the right and left iliac fossa or the iliac region. So here in this figure also we can see that this is the epigastric region, and on the each side these two regions are the hypochondriac regions. In the midline where the umbilicus is lying, and this umbilicus lies between the L3 and L4 vertebrae, and this region it is called as the umbilical region. And on the each side of the umbilical region the lumbar regions lie. In the lower zone, in the middle, there is hypogastric region is there, and on the each side where the iliac fossas are lying, and these are the right and left iliac fossa or iliac region. So all these are the regions of the abdomen, and these regions are very important to locate the underlying viscera within the abdomen.